All right then. Shall we make a start? Now we've got the first person on that's going to ask a question. So as I said a little bit earlier, Mark, we got everyone getting questions arranged last week, and while we was doing that activity, we had a cheeky cub online that wanted to ask you the first question if possible, just because they've got to go to bed very shortly. So I'm going to hand you over to Phoebe, that's got a really serious question that she needs to ask you. So Phoebe, it's over to you. Look.
Microphone off.
Yeah, it's ready.
Does Boris Johnson have a hairbrush?
Well, Phoebe, you know what? I don't know, to be honest. I have not seen him brush his hair. But he even if he does, I know he does go to have his hair done at the barber's sometimes, or sometimes a barber comes into number 10 Downing Street and does his hair there. But then, of course, what he does, he when he's had his hair done, he then does this all the time, doesn't he? He do that, and then he messes it all up. But I think it's just something he does naturally all the time, and that's what makes him Boris. So if he does have a hairbrush, he doesn't use it very often, and it's a waste of time because he's always messing his own hair up.
So there's your answer then, Phoebe. Are you happy with that? So there's your cheeky cub question for you, Mark, to start you off nicely. I'm going to go to George now. George, are you ready with your question?
Did you ever go to Scouts when you were younger?
I did. I went to clubs and I went to Scouts, to be honest, and I thought it was brilliant. So when I was in Cubs, I was a sixer. And yeah, I went all the way through Scouts, and we loved it. To be honest, it was brilliant. I don't know if they're still going. I don't think they are. I was in First Lamley at the time, and our neckers were like yellow with a brown strip down, a little bit like yours, but brown and yellow. So yeah, we used to love it, and we used to do lots of stuff, go on camps. We went to Walesby a few times, camped up there. I don't know if you guys have been to Walesby at all, but we used to love it up there. Yeah, had some really good times in Scouts.
Yeah, then, Anya, your first question, please.
What is your dream job?
What's what? Sorry, I missed that. Say that again.
What is your dream job?
My dream job. Oh my God! I think this is my dream job, being the government chief whip. To be honest, although sometimes I think being a farmer is my dream job as well, because I'm too busy being a politician. I'd quite like to just go back to being a normal farmer one day. So I think I like doing lots of different things, to be honest. But I mean, being the MP for Sherwood is pretty cool. And I do like doing that. It's nice to be able to help people, nice to be able to try and make the area in which we live a bit better, get things done, improve the area in which we live. So lots of things like that, really, I suppose. So being the MP is my dream job, and I've been very, very lucky in that I've been able to do that. What would you like to be?
Not sure.
You're not sure yet?
No.
Well, you've got plenty of time to make your mind up, but my advice to you is whatever you decide to do, make sure you enjoy doing it, really, because then it doesn't feel like work.
Can you describe your typical day in Westminster?
I can. So first of all, I get in the office about 7:30, 20 past 7, and then I'll meet my team here in the Whip's office. And we talk through what's going to happen during the day and for the rest of the week. And then normally I have to go over to Downing Street and see the Prime Minister and talk through what his day is going to be like and the meetings he's going to have and what might be happening over in Parliament. And then basically I have lots of meetings with lots of different people who want to try and convince me to do something or to not do something. And so I have lots and lots of meetings. But what my team do for me is they do a little card, and they give me that card every morning. Look, that's got all my meetings on for tomorrow. I don't know if you can see that. So that's what I'm doing tomorrow, and that goes over 2 pages. So there's that one, and then a bit on the back. So it keeps me very busy. So tonight we'll finish, started this morning, got here about 7 o'clock, and tonight we'll finish just after 10 o'clock, I think. It's a long day.
How is your relationship with Boris Johnson?
I mean, I think it's pretty good, to be honest. I get on really well with the Prime Minister. He obviously he's very busy, so I only get to see him for sort of half an hour to 3/4 an hour a day because he's got lots of other people to meet. But we talk on the phone quite a lot, and hopefully he listens to the advice I give him. And it's my job to try and support him and look after him and try and deliver the things that he wants to deliver through Parliament. So all of the great things that he wants to do, we've got to get MPs to vote for that, and it's my job to encourage them to vote for him and to support him here in Parliament. So we get on really well, to be honest, and sometimes we have a bit of a laugh, but most of the time we're working quite hard together.
What are your thoughts about pollution and climate change?
So I think that's a really important issue, actually, that the government has to try and help. But of course, we can all help, can't we, by the way in which we live our lives. I think what's important is that we change the way in which we're living, but we do that at the right speed. So if the government said tomorrow, right, everybody's got to sell their car and buy an electric one, that would be very difficult for people to afford to buy a new electric car because they're very expensive. So what the government's got to do, it's got to try and change the way in which we live, but at the right speed so that we save the planet, we look after the planet, but we do it at a change of speed that people can cope with, so that people's, your mums and dads' bills don't become too expensive. So if we said we weren't going to use coal, for example, ever again to make electricity, that sounds like a really good thing to do. But if the electricity bills go up really high very quickly, it means that people can't afford to pay their electricity bills, and that would become very difficult for them. So it's about making those changes that we all want to see, but doing it at a speed that everybody can cope with that change. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Thank you.
When will lockdown actually end?
So it's going to end on the 3rd of December for definite, and then we're going to go back to a tiered system. So that means that depending on where in the country the most people are getting poorly, that will be much stricter than areas where less people are getting poorly, to try and stop the spread of the disease that way. Because obviously if nobody in your village is poorly with it, there's no point closing all the pubs and the businesses, because they all need to try and make a living. But it's very, very difficult to get that right, of course, because we don't want anybody to get poorly and to become so ill that they die. But at the same time, we want people to be able to make a living and to go to work and do their jobs. And getting that balance right is really difficult at the moment. And I think so the formal lockdown will finish on the 3rd of December, to answer the question, and then we'll go back to this ranking system. Now, Nottinghamshire was quite bad when we went into it. The good news is we're a little bit better now. We're a bit better than Leicester and Derby, and I hope if we can all stick to social distancing and keep our friends and neighbours healthy, we'll be able to get back to a bit more normality, in time for Christmas, because everybody wants to have their friends and their relatives around for Christmas.
When do you think sport training for young people will start back up?
So I think we need to get going with that soon, don't we? So hopefully after the 3rd of December, we'll be able to get back to some form of sports. And I think that's really important, especially for young people, so they can go and play rugby and football and netball and swimming and all the stuff that keeps young people busy and fit. I think that's really important that we can start doing that as soon as possible. But at the same time, I'm sure, Harvey, I don't know which sports you like to play. Do you like to play rugby or football, or what's your favourite?
Yeah, football.
My favourite
Rugby.
is rugby.
Yeah, so you of course you want to get back and do that, but what you don't want to do is accidentally pass on the virus to somebody that you really care about and make them poorly. So we're trying to get that balance right, I suppose, between allowing you to go and kick the ball or run with a rugby ball, and making sure that we keep all your friends and relations fit and healthy.
When and how do you think COVID-19 will end?
So I hope really soon. I don't know about you, I'm fed up with it. It's it's not much fun, is it, this at the moment? I want to go and see my friends and go to the pub and go to parties and do nice things like we always used to do. And at Christmas time, I want to see lots of friends. So hopefully as soon as possible. But the way it's going to end is making sure we can identify who's got the virus, who's carrying it. So it could be that I've got the virus now. I don't know it because I'm not coughing, and I could pass it to somebody without knowing I've got it. But that makes it really difficult to work out who's going to give it to who. So we can test people really quickly and identify who's carrying it and who isn't. That will help. And if we can have a vaccine, I don't know, do you know what a vaccine is? So it's a medicine that you can give people to stop them getting poorly. So before they come into contact with someone that's got the virus, you give them a special medicine, which basically means that they can fight off the infection really easily. If we can give that out to everybody, then it should get rid of it quite quickly. But hopefully that will happen fairly soon, and we can get back to normal, soon after Christmas.
I want to be a prime minister.
I don't want to be prime minister. No, I don't. Do you know what? I don't think I do. So I've seen Boris do it. It's really, really hard work, and he never gets a minute's peace. So I'm more than happy to support Boris being prime minister, and I don't know why anybody would want to do that job, to be honest, because literally 24 hours a day, you're not left alone. You're not allowed to drive your own car. You have to have a policeman with you all the time. You've got lots of people that want a piece of your time. It's having watched Boris do it, it's very, very, very difficult. And I quite like being able to come home at the weekend and still pretend to be a farmer. And I wouldn't be able to do that if I was prime minister. And I'd have to move to London as well, of course. And I quite like living in Nottinghamshire. So I think it'd be quite cool to be prime minister for 5 minutes, but I think I'll leave it to Boris. To be honest, he's better at it than I would be. Thank you very much. I mean, some of them were quite difficult questions, to be honest, but I've really enjoyed that, and hopefully when we get through this COVID stuff, I'll be able to come and visit you properly in the Scout hut and say hello properly. But enjoy your scouting, and I shall see you soon.
Thanks very much, Mark. Take care.
Bye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.